And they're off.
If, like me, you're off to the Blue Mountains in a couple of weeks to freeze your nuts to your leg, you're going to need the best outdoor gear in the business, and that's why I go to Further Faster, the best independently owned outdoors store in the known universe, because as we've established before with that horrible image, it's cold in the Blue Mountains this time of year. Whether you're heading out on a climbing, paddling, tramping or running adventures, look no farther than Further Faster for all your gear and expertise needs over the summer. Head to 57A Buchan Street, Sydenham, Otutahi, Christchurch, look at that shoe wall and get that image out of your mind. Furtherfaster.co.nz. Yuck.
I can't get that out of my mind.
You go something like Further Faster, they're in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to Further Faster now.
Oh, Further Faster, they're in Christchurch. Rocky is hairy and so is Badger. Jules is nice and Jacob is delicious. Go to Further Faster now.
Dirt Church Radio.
Sometimes you just got to push the boat out. Episode 321 of the Dirt Church Radio Trail and Ultra Marathon podcast. I'm Matt Raymond.
And I'm Ellie Pottinger.
Buddy, it's nice to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Just that part of me that you can see and not picture, which is, yeah, I don't know what came over me. But how are you?
I'm here for a bit of banter, Matt. It's funny. It's good. We all need a bit more laughter in our lives.
We all need a bit more laughter in our lives because, hey, times are tough. You've been away for a long time. What have you been up to? Last time we spoke, you were in Tasmania.
Yeah, so went to Tassie and then caught a flight up to Sydney, had some time at the beach and then went up to the Blue Mountains to host a running camp, which was great, really cup-filling stuff. And now just back in Sydney, ready to fly tomorrow back home.
Wow. So how long have you been away for?
2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's it like going to... Oh, I do know, because we went last time for the Fieries climb, but is the anticipation building through Katoomba about...
Oh, my goodness. There are so many runners everywhere, all over. Like, yeah, they're just... crawling, well not crawling, they're running and hiking, but they are just everywhere like little ants all over the Blue Mountains. Yeah, it's great.
So
I was
good.
talking about, what the event brings to the local economy, and it must be huge. Like people coming out from Sydney for weekends just to get out on the trails and prepare for UTA. It's pretty amazing.
100-mile race is certainly going to bring all the boys and girls to the yard. It's a degree of challenge that far exceeds the 100K.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a whole nother kettle of fish. I don't even know what that saying means, but I think it will be a kettle of fish for people.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of people in the Blue Mountains who are not crawling but running, our guest on the last proper episode of Dirt Church Radio, not the aid station, Michael Dunstan,
Yeah.
I'm going to go and win the bloody Buffalo Stampede.
Smashed it. The finishing times, I was looking and I can't even remember. I feel like it was 30 minutes or 45 minutes. It was huge between first and second. He blitzed it.
Yeah, amazing. Can't wait to see what that man has up his sleeve. And we got heaps of comments. People also like, hey, it's rare that you can put someone's music up with their own caption on the thing, and it really works. So yeah, go check him out, Michael Dunstan. He's incredible. But look, Ellie, what do we got this week?
Oh gosh, it was quite exciting. I did a Kunyanyi podcast around the event because I think, it's interesting to hear more about events and from the runners that are doing them and what their take on it all is. So this week we are talking to all sorts of people wrapped around the event. So I did 2 pre-race interviews with 2 really amazing wahine tour, Joe and Anne from Hamilton. I think they're both 60 plus.
Right.
And they just get after it, eh? Like they go do all these cool, challenges and just love the outdoors. So it was really fun chatting with them. Did an interview with Lincoln, the founder/race director of Kunyanyi, and him and his wife Kat do a really incredible job with that race and the ethos behind it and what they bring to the community. I think they're 2 really special people doing something really special for our trail running community. So it was great to hear from him and to find the time on race day even, amazing. And I had a chat with the lovely lady who runs the Bush Crate just to find out more about what they're doing there. So they have a Bush Crate attached to the race, which is really neat, and the kids look like they're having a blast. And then I caught up with Anne and Joe after the race, which was fun, hearing about, how they found it all. And then another post-race chat with Kate and Doug, who both did. So Kunyanyi offer all sorts of different events, and they did the immersion. So 3 days, there's a vertical downhill on the first day. And then the second day, either the 25K or the 66K. And then the third day is the foothills, which is 9K. But they've all got some decent vert. So it was fun chatting with them. And funnily, Kate has said that her greatest run ever was recently read out, a week or two ago. So that was quite strange timing. But, yeah, really nice kind of chatting with a range of people.
It's awesome. I love that they do the 3 day. I think more races should offer that as an option.
So good.
That.
Yeah.
I shared a bunkhouse with Link, not the last UTA, but the one before. And one
Really?
Yeah. He just kind of, and there's this huge. It was in one of the I think it was in Kadumba. It was one of the hostels at the KCC, and there was like me and Disco Dave in there, and about 1 million spare bunks. And then Link rolled in, and yeah, what an epic! He's such a cool character.
He is
Fantastic. Right. Well, before we get to all that goodness, we should probably crack on with this.
It's the greatest run ever. It's the greatest run ever.
Greatest Run Ever, brought to you by Squad Run. Give their 4-week special coaching trial a go. You can find the link on the website, dirtchurchradio.com. This is the part of the show where we ask you to write into us and tell us your greatest run ever. Doesn't have to be a race or a mountain summit. It might just be a run around the block, something that's sung to you for some reason. Send them in to us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. And this is from Laura Matthews. My goals for Old Ghost Ultra were to 1, not get injured, and 2, have fun. I wasn't super prepared, but this was a bucket list race, and a group of my friends were all travelling down for it, including our newlywed mates who'd signed up for their honeymoon, which is, runners are going to do what runners do. Having fun was achieved early, listening to the most entertaining race briefing I've heard. Phil Rossiter could easily take up stand-up comedy, and I would sign up for his presentation on the WITLI Will to Live Index. It set the tone for a perfect day of suffering in a beautiful place. This was my first time racing with good friends, and it won't be my last. Running in a train of people you love through beautiful native forest has to be one of the greatest feelings in the world. The vibes were great, and by the first aid station, I'd upped the pace a little, having all agreed we would run our own race. Soon our train was down to 3 people. My friend had dropped her new husband, and the guilt was eating at her since this was part of the honeymoon was her idea. She decided to wait for him, leaving me and Sophie, a friend I'd met that morning, chatting away through the boneyards. The rest of the race can only be described by saying that the girls were on. Dropping down after the boneyards, we were feeling good, running faster than we thought we could or should, and we agreed that today was the day to go for it. Sophie took the lead after some halftime oranges at the 40-kilometre mark and absolutely powered up the climbs. Breaking out onto the tops and looking out over the Kahurangi was magic, and I couldn't stop smiling. My mantra recently has been, "Don't you dare get used to this," a line from my favourite song, and it was in my head as I ran over Skyline Ridge in the sunshine, feeling like the luckiest girl in the world. More oranges at Ghost Lake Hut from incredibly friendly volunteers, and then we were off up to Heaven's Door, the final climb before 25k of sweet, sweet downhill. That long, steady climb cutting into the side of the mountain was epic, and we couldn't believe we'd reached the high point. We'd been telling ourselves the last 25k's were a write-off and we couldn't just cruise down, but we were so wrong. It was punishing. I kept the pedal down, clicking through those never-ending kilometres, shouting about how well we were doing whenever we felt low. I didn't trust the 1k to go sign, but then suddenly we were hand in hand over the finish line, just so incredibly stoked with our day. We finished an hour and 40 minutes faster than what we'd both predicted, knowing we'd pushed hard the whole way and have both come away with a new friend and a free West Coast pie. I don't know I don't know what more you could ask for in a run. You can't talk about Old Ghost without talking about the community around it. The fastest local winner, Silas Carey, put it beautifully at prize giving, saying that these sort of things can change the world. This race is bigger than running. It's the community and the amazing volunteers and the West Coast hospitality and the whole auditorium giving Phil a standing ovation and seeing him tear up a little. I'd say to anyone who's thinking of running this race to give it a go. It's the biggest privilege to be part of it, and I know I'll keep coming back.
Aw, that made me get some tears there. That was absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had Phil on years ago. Like, he was a really early guest. Like, I want to say first 50 on Dirt Church Radio. And instantly, same thing. Like, I'll put the link in the show notes, but go listen to Phil Roster. And the way he's like, he doesn't have a king of the mountain. He's got a royal of the mountain, because it is, it's not sort of predicated on the idea that a dude will be first up there. And my gosh, hasn't Ruth Croft proved them wrong, proved them right, winning that a couple of times. But yeah, rest of you, please send them in. We're getting a little bit low in the cupboard. We predictably picked up after Tarawera, but greatest run ever, send them in to us at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com, and you can read them unabridged on the website. All right, we should get into it. Your adventures at Tasmania at the Kunyanyi Mountain Run.
We begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which this podcast was recorded, the Palawa people. We'd like to pay respects to elders past and present and emerging. Welcome to another episode of Dirt Church Radio. This one is going to be based all around Kunyanyi Mountain Run, which is in Hobart, Tasmania. And so far, thoughts are from the city, you can see the amazing mountain. It's got these incredible kind of organ pipes near the top. And it's just kind of this imposing character that you can see from all kind of vantage points in the city. It's a city that, borders the sea. It feels quite colonial, almost like a hybrid, like it's kind of part Australian and almost like Wellington, New Zealand Wellington. So it feels a bit more Kiwi than other parts of Australia that I've visited so far. And went to the race hub today. The vibe was just kind of warm and friendly, quite grassroots. But I think we're in for a good weekend. Yeah, so I'll look forward to sharing some of the stories of the runners and of the event over the next wee while. I am joined by
Anne Robertson
from
Kirikiriroa, Hamilton.
And you're here for...
The Kunyanyi Mountain Race here in Hobart.
And which distance are you doing tomorrow?
46k Alpine Marathon.
Yeah, and it's the first time that it's running, isn't it?
Yeah. That's inaugural race. I think they've done all the other distances, but not the 46k. Yeah.
And what made you sign up for that one?
Well, I saw your post on Facebook, actually. So it's all your fault, really. You said I'm thinking of getting a group together to go to Kunyanyi, and I went, oh, that looks interesting. I'll have a look. I've always wanted to go to Tassie. It was on my bucket list. And then I looked at it and I thought, oh, that looks exciting. It looks like it might be my sort of race, my sort of event. I tried to suggest to Joe and Sarah, who two other running buddies, that we did the 66k Alpine relay.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that would be pretty cool.
But instead you're doing the Alpine Marathon.
Yeah, because I couldn't persuade them to do it. So so then it was like, okay, well, I'll do the 25. And then I read the description of the 46, and I just like the idea of the going out the back on the technical trail and the way it was also the sexy skyline ridge was a pretty good description. Sounded quite interesting. So I thought, oh, let's just go for it. Go for the 46, and so that was it. And then I entered. and went,
I was waiting for that because I was thinking, for a challenging alpine mountain run, you seem pretty excited.
yeah.
No nerves.
Oh, plenty of nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've over the last few weeks, I've definitely questioned my choices. I thought I was doing pretty well on the training front and did the goat back in January, and that felt pretty good. But then I had a bit of a tumble and hurt my foot and got a niggly knee, and so the wheels fell off the training a little bit. And so I kept on thinking, oh my goodness me, have I bitten off too much? Have I bitten off more than I can chew? But yeah, I'm here, ready to go, excited. I guess registering and getting all the gear and being there at the ceremony today was really, just makes you feel more excited about it.
How was that? Was that is this your first Australian race?
No. Did UTA in Kosciuszko?
Oh, yeah.
But the first one, I don't think, I don't remember seeing, I don't think I was at the briefing for either of the other two and saw the Aboriginal sort of welcome and cleansing ceremony, which was pretty cool. Yeah. Watching that today and being part, and I like the idea that you're part of it as well. So everybody walks through and through the fire, through the smoke, and it's part of it rather than it just being done to you, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, well, we'll look forward to catching up tomorrow. I don't know if it'll be out on course or if it's after the event, but I hope you have fun out there.
I will do. Looking forward to it. Kia ora.
All right. Who have I got with me now?
You've got Jo Munn, also from Kirikiriroa, Hamilton in New Zealand.
Yeah. And what brought you here, Jo?
Anne Robertson. I have this crazy friend who you've just been speaking to, and it happens to be her birthday this weekend. So I thought that joining her for a bit of fun and some running and some sightseeing in Tassie would be a great idea.
How's the sightseeing been so far?
Oh, it's been awesome. We went to Mona, to the museum yesterday, and it was, what's the best word?
It's very quirky.
Quirky, interesting. I realised how very uncultured I might be.
Yeah.
And then today we went on the hop-on, hop-off bus and did a tour at the female factory. That was amazing.
So what is the female factory?
Basically, it's a posh word for a woman's prison.
Okay.
So the women who were transported here for fairly minor indiscretions and their stories. Really worth a visit.
Katrina, who's come with me to look after Sebastian, I don't know if she told you, but her family heritage, I can't remember, something like a great-grandma or something, was transported from England to Tasmania because she stole a petticoat, and the penalty was death or transportation.
Wow.
And I don't know if she got to choose, but obviously she ended up here, and that was kind of, part of Katrina's heritage, which I think is just, stealing a petticoat.
I know. Some of the stories behind those women were just incredible.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, really worth a visit.
Yeah, oh, no, I would love to go.
Yeah.
And what are you looking forward to? So, what distance are you in for?
Well, like Anne, I read the description and read sexy, skyline and technical and thought, no, that's not for me. The sexy skyline bit sounded appealing, but when you add the technical into that description, I'm a hard no.
Yeah.
So for fear of missing out, I have entered the 25k mountain run.
And I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but you had a pretty nasty ankle break, 3 years ago now?
Yeah.
And an extraction, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And coming back from that, did you think that you'd be back doing events like this?
No, probably not. It was a pretty full-on break, both tib and fib and, helicopter ride and all those sorts of exciting things. And, 3 years ago, so in my early 60s.
Yeah.
So the age factor with the healing and what have you certainly played a part.
Yeah.
But they've put me back together with titanium, and that I do have a lot of fear factor still.
Yeah.
Hence the technical hard no.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just hiking with no pressure of an event.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty stoked actually with where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's changed my mindset around time.
Yeah.
And just to be grateful that I still have a body that can move from A to B.
Yeah.
And be part of an awesome experience like I hope tomorrow will be.
Yeah, because I think we can be, as runners, like, oh, there's an event, I'm going to this event, it only counts if I do the longest distance.
Yeah.
But to be able to take part in an event in any way, shape or form is
Absolutely.
pretty darn cool. And, I mean, hopefully a bit easier on recovery so you can do some more cool things, sightseeing and stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
I think
one of the things I've one of the words I have consciously dropped from my vocab is just.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not just doing 25Ks tomorrow.
Yeah.
I am doing 25Ks, and a friend is not, who might have just started their running journey, they're not just doing 5Ks.
No.
They are doing 5Ks.
Yeah,
And I think that's been a big learning.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, well, I'm looking forward to hearing how your day goes too, and we'll be catching up hopefully tomorrow
Be
or the
great.
next day to find out all about it.
Fabulous.
Wish you the best.
Thanks, Ali.
Rock and roll. With me I have got,
Lincoln Quilliam from the Kunyanyi Mountain Run in Tassie.
and what's your official title?
Oh, good question. Depends who I'm talking to. The problem with being your own boss, you're supposed to decide these things.
Yeah.
And then, so, director.
Director.
Yep.
And founder?
Yes. Yeah.
And so how long has the event been going for now?
So this is the 4th year.
Yeah.
And, it took kind of 3 years to get it off the ground as well with some of the land manager complexities and permits and the like. So
So it's been in the pipeline for a while.
yeah, well, apparently 3 to 4 or more event organisers have sort of had a look at this over the last 10 to 15 years. As soon, once I started having a look at it myself, started hearing of these stories coming out of the woodwork. But life granted me the time, and it's my home. So returning as a trail runner to rediscover the mountain in my backyard, it was like, wow, this is epic. It's no wonder the community across Australia has responded, and NZ and further afield has responded so strongly to. It was almost 800 runners year one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, now just, probably over 1,200 now for this year, 4th year.
Oh, so growing each year.
Yeah, and that's the objective is not to keep growing and growing and growing. We need to reach sustainability, of course, but the objective 100% is to connect people with the mountain on its terms, on the tracks and trails, and to people to discover themselves, to connect with the landscapes, the mountain, to hear the stories, particularly of the Tasmanian Aboriginal people, and think of ourselves and our connection to nature potentially a little bit differently, and having an epic adventure on the way. We are so lucky. We've got such a diversity of landscapes jam-packed into such a small area, into this mountain right on the doorstep of Hobart. It's pretty unique.
And I know that you kind of talked about when we were just chatting in the car before, we've been driving around the course, enjoying all the aid stations and seeing the runners. You talked about how it's got lots of, you spend a lot of time creating the course to capture as diverse an experience, I guess, of nature as you could.
Yeah, no, and it's been so much fun cruising around the course with you, Ali. It's always good to, like, it's the first year I've actually gone out on the course, been kind of based at the Run Hub other years, but to have someone to share it with, you know? It's been so beautiful, thank you. Course design, I mean, you know, as an engineer and project manager, I applied that sort of methodology to this project, call it. And so you've got to define the problem before you jump to solutions. So I spent time, and it's iterative as well, but invested time in defining the course design criteria or basis. What did we want to achieve with the course? And
what did you want to achieve with the course?
Yeah, well, capturing all the different unique elements. So the different landscape types. We've got the organ pipes is absolutely epic. So running underneath those. Ferny gullies and rainforest, you know, waterfalls. Then the big eucalypt forests, you know, dense, mature, wet eucalypt forests. Then the open, dry peppermint forest, and then views. So everywhere you look, you've got a view here. And so there's so many different views of the mountains from different angles, different distances, and should try and really capture as many of those to put them together in one run. We've also got a lot of historic water supply infrastructure from, you know, the 1800s around waterworks, so that had to be in it. And then, of course, capturing those landscapes was pretty much number one. And then distance-wise, we didn't want to fix ourselves to set distances. It was really a sort of distance range, like a 3 to 4 hour-ish sort of effort. So that's around 25k. That is our mountain run, and then an ultra of sorts, somewhere between 50 and 100-ish. You know, it's like could have been anywhere in that. And it's really, well, what is the landscape giving to us? What's the most natural flow, and of course then you consider logistics and emergency response and all these sorts of things. Then it's also it can't be too gnarly unless that's exactly what we wanted to do, which it wasn't. You know, there's a diversity of different trail types, and you know, let's get some really nice runnable stuff when we can, because we've also got a lot of technical and a lot of steep. We're not short of that. So, you know, getting that balance right and then trying to connect it all together. So, I mean, when I created the Tarkina Ultra out in the northwest of Tassie, the course design was a lot easier because there was 3 kind of landscape types rather than 9 that we have here, and there wasn't that many tracks, so you don't have too much to choose from, and it all just fell into place pretty easily. Whereas on the east face of the mountain here, we've got a huge network of tracks, and it is kind of quite complex. And there's, you know, we want this bit and then this bit, and anyway, it did take a couple of years to really knuckle down the course design, and we haven't had too much change since, because we, you know, really wanted to hit the nail on the head from the outset, and the feedback is, I guess, that we're doing okay on that. So, you've captured a lot of diversity, but I think you've also got some really interesting initiatives alongside or around that wrap around the event, and a focus on inclusivity. Like, where did that, you know, motivation come from? Or like, how did you come up with these ideas? Like, I need to have a look at my list, but I think you've got a bush crash for kids, you've got a gear swap, you've got trail maintenance involved. So what kind of, you know, brought you to have that as a priority? Yeah, well, lots of priorities, perhaps too many. This is so the why for me on all of this is trail running keeps me sane. Without it, I'd be a nutcase. And you know, through, you know, leading the Hobart Trail Runners for a couple of years and other stuff, I've here repeatedly that most people run for their health and well-being, mental health particularly. And so it's like, right, well, people who run trails, you know, reasonable or you know, it helps solve problems. Like, you know, how many of life's or work problems have you solved out on a run because you've just had time to not think about it and you allow your subconscious to process it and whatever. So it's like and I take a really long-term approach to this, but if my legacy on this earth can be that, you know, some more people connected with the trails and were nicer people in themselves, nicer people to their friends and family, and then they drew them in, you know, if I can have just one small impact on, you know, Tasmania's society to be more connected with nature, more respectful to nature and each other, then wow. And, you know, decrease health burden and all these other, you know, flow-on effects. So it's, connect people with trails and the rest kind of takes care of itself. So that hasn't answered the question yet. Sorry, because it's where do these initiatives come from and why? Well, with that fundamental objective in mind, you know, the primary purpose of us doing these events is not to operate a business. Mm-hmm. We need to operate sustainably so that we can still be here to achieve that higher objective. But it's to, connect people with trails. And so we want to break down as many barriers as possible. Mm-hmm. So really, you know, and we see it in the data, like the international data from ITRA on women's participation is horrid. Yeah. You know, it's like in the 20% or something crazy like that. We've got 48% female overall, I believe, for this year. I could be 46, but we've always, you know, been higher because we care about women's participation and we're trying to knock out those barriers. So some of those, just to sort of list them off, is deferral policy for pregnancy, and that's for up to 3 years. And then, hey, you have a second and get another 3 years. And that's also for the partner as well. You know, if the birth's imminent, then they can defer as well. Qualifier times for the ultra and alpine marathon, different for men and women, recognising the difference in physiology. Space at the start line. So, you know, having that chat with everyone, but particularly the blokes, hey, make space. Women, you know, step forward. It's and you know, respecting that you know, it's taking a while, I think, or a few years now for women to start to step forward, to start to be comfortable to step forward. And I think having the conversations, and we've had conversations around menstruation and plan to do more around menopause, et cetera, is all part of starting to make women feel more comfortable to be able to step forward. And so, menstruation, we've got open conversations and have products and sanitary disposal at every aid station and, of course, at the Run Hub. The bush childcare, obviously that's for all parents, but, you know, the reality we understand is that women shoulder the greater burden for childcare. And so, you know, and that allows single parents or parents that, you know, the partner is off doing something else, or both parents to go out and run. There's probably other things that aren't front of mind right now on the women's support measures, but, you know, 50% of our content, of our images, you know, women, of course.
And also, sorry, I'm just going to interrupt, not just your standard 20-year-old size 8, like, and I like that because it's important, right? Like, we need to be seen. Like, all of the pack need to be seen. Exactly.
And that's you know, if we only put the, you know, the elites on the imagery, then, you know, the 80-90% of our participants don't see themselves there. And you know, that's really the focus, is connect people with trails. And so people need to see themselves in what we're putting out there for them to feel comfortable. Oh, I can do that. Yeah. You know, that's me over there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Trail maintenance. Back in 2020 when I started my company Trail Ventures for the purpose of creating KMR, COVID hit. I had some time. There was a heap of work required for parks here in Tassie to recover from, to do track work to recover from big bushfires, and a heap of wilderness guides out of work. So all things just pointed to, all right, well, let's start a trail maintenance, trail business to, and so, been working as a trail maintenance company since.
Yeah.
Now it is really just focused on the events, but we've got all the systems and processes and tools and safety and all that stuff all set up, and so it was very hard to get permits, even though a full contractor working for parks, to then get them to give us a bit of paper to maintain the trails for free for them. Just so we can have an event. I mean, that took 2 years. It was crazy. So it's a standard feature of all our events that, we provide a, we actually have a trail maintenance fund which runners can contribute to on their registration. I think it was, $5,000 this year. Runners,
great.
Contributed to the trail maintenance fund, and that allows us to, have paid supervision, maintain the tools, et cetera, and also provide the community the opportunity to give back as crew for volunteer work days to get out there and get it done.
Very cool. And the gear swap?
Yeah, gear swap. So that's something we've, thought of for a while, and partnering with the South Hobart Sustainable Community, because there's a few trail runners in that community.
There are?
It's finally, resources to make that idea happen. Just reminded me I didn't pack my bag of all my,
you haven't
stuff.
packed yours.
I had
gear
heaps
swap
to
gear.
donate. Yeah, but no, and there's other aspects. I mean, one of our other events for the trail series is Pramable.
Yeah.
So a 5K of our most popular Tolosa half, and that. I'm a new father myself, and was like, oh, what if could we do that?
Yeah.
And it's like, risk, encouraging people to run on trails, rough, rocky, what if the pram rolls over? Let's work through this. We don't want to hide behind a risk rock. Let's take a chisel and, chip away at any of these risks and put reasonable things into place. So, that's another way of parents getting out. Yeah, they do need a off-road pram to do it, which might be limiting, but it's also an opportunity.
Yeah. Oh, and the kids love it too. And there's a kids race here too, isn't there?
Yep. Kids race ages 5 and up, but we are doing an official trial this year of ages 3 and 4 as well. Because guess how old my boy is?
Well, I was going to say Sebastian's 2.5.
Running. Ages 5 and up. Parents are welcome to run with or behind, but not required to. Whereas, this trial with 3-year-olds will be parents running with.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's cool for the kids. Gosh, there's a lot of good things that are happening around this event, and you can see that you're passionate about making things, creating connections to land and with people. What have been some of your favourite stories that have come from KMR so far?
Oh, wow. Far out. I think seeing the local community just strengthen and build, and, for me personally, to get to know so many more local people who, really have, it's helped their life. Trail running has helped their life in their self-care and their community and the connections made. We've seen so many friendships and partnerships, relationships blossom through trail running here in Tassie. And that community building, and we were just down at Mountain River there and talking to one of our crew there, who's one of our lead course markers, and and he was getting emotional at just what we have created, and it's just like, wow. A guy from Brisbane there was just saying, wow, yeah, this is absolutely epic. Even though we've got a bit of rain and a bit of wind and it's a bit fresh here, it was just frothing with half the ultra still to go. But the feedback from so many people, stories, particular stories. I mean, it's a tricky one. Like, because when event weekend, I'm so hyper focused on managing the whole thing and supporting our team and and picking up on any 1%ers that just need a tweak to create the best possible runners experience and also volunteer experience. That I don't necessarily take the time to absorb individual stories too much, which might be nice to focus on for next year. But the feedback, what lasts with us is the testimonials and the feedback we get in the surveys. And, you really have to put some armour on as well when you read those, because there's real feedback coming in as well. And that's really important because it helps us, tweak things and improve. But, wow, there's such powerful, things come out of that. And particularly the appreciation of the smoking ceremonies with the Tasmanian Aboriginal community sharing culture with us is super powerful, and I think that's changed is a big part in people seeing the landscape in a slightly different way when they're set off with a bit of a ceremony there with some smoke. So yeah.
I think it's a good reminder that people have traversed this land for many thousands and thousands of years, and they hopefully will continue to. And that's
Well, the Palawa Tasmanian Aboriginal community is proud and strong and continuing. Obviously, I'm not a member of that community, but really appreciate. So we aim to provide an open and supportive platform for Palawa to share, and the Tasmanian Aboriginal community to share culture and story on their terms, and so I think we're really honoured that they're keen to continue to share, and had amazing chats with Uncle Rodney Dillon last night, and Linton Burgess, our lead Palawa performer, and his son Cade, and all that. So the why on that for me, I grew up just in the next valley over in Waterworks. Grew up playing around in the bush, learning how to fall out of trees, build dams, not quite drown in the creek, etc., but didn't learn too much about the culture and story of the mountain. So hence, creating KMR, it's like, well, hey, I want to learn more. Trail runners, generally like to connect with the places that they run, and let's have a bit, try and do a bit more around the mountain culture side of things. So, yeah. I
think it deepens your connection to the land, having those stories alongside your own. Yeah. So what hopes have you got for KMR in the future?
Yeah. Well, one of the initiatives we do is the scholarships team. And that's been like such an amazing journey. So we select, there's a pretty, there's an application process, and then and trials, and then we select a team of 6 people, and they're very supported by our partners, Salomon with gear, Keezer with strength and conditioning program and the gym access, for 5 months, run coaching. I'm the sort of mindset and adventure coach and adventure skills sort of thing, and gear from the rest of our partners. And so it's a supported, full strength conditioning, run coaching, adventure coaching, gear, nutrition, etc. Process where we get together and do some group runs and training sessions together for 5-6 months. That hearing some of the stories. So importantly, the people we're selecting are people who this scholarship program can be potentially a very transformative experience for their life. And so some of their whys and their background and story is super powerful, and really some heavy stuff, and their whys are shared on the website and through our the scholarships episodes that we've released this year. We did for our 2024 team. We had like a 10-minute film which toured internationally, and I think is really inspiring people. So it's a very deep experience for those 6 for the team, but we want to share their journey and share their story to inspire others to step onto the trails and work towards seeing the benefits for themselves, all directly aligned with the overall objective of connect people with trails and, for their health and well-being, and, some of life's pressures can sort themselves out. So the scholarships team is a massive investment from all our partners and our team. And the stories that come out are just amazing, and the experiences. I can't wait to go down and see some of them now and give them hugs.
I bet. Yeah.
And so the rest of the future for KMR, well, there's no real structured, business or run plans. It's really organic, and we have the feedback surveys every year and have evaluation, a full debrief and evaluation process internally and with all our partners. And as with anything I've ever done with the community run clubs or whatever, it's just asking and listening to the community, and then finding the things or initiatives or new runs or whatever it might be that people actually want.
Yeah.
And, there's 1,000 great ideas, but the timing may not be right, or that great idea might not actually fit what the rest of the people might actually want or need. So long term, we just want to be here for decades and connecting more people with the mountain on its terms, and hopefully creating a helping society be a little more healthy and connected.
Sounds like a really good purpose.
It's quite it is really a driver, because it's just so fundamental, and it makes all the hard work worth it.
Yeah. And I'm sure it is. I'm looking forward to hearing some of the stories that come from this weekend. I've got a lot of friends out there, and it's going to be great to hear, what their experience is, and, how they've connected with the land here. And it's been an absolute joy so far being in Tasmania. It's always been somewhere that I've wanted to visit, but thanks for putting on a race that's made us come over and actually experience it.
Yeah, well, thanks for coming over. Like, that's super stoked that, we've produced something that was attractive enough to make the step across. Like, it's not a small feat, coming across. So, just super stoked you're keen to come and join in the fun.
Well, let's keep it going. Thank you, Leek, and it's been really fun chatting and fun being at KMR. I'm looking forward to the rest of the weekend.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
I am now at probably one of the most exciting places at KMR, the Kids Bush Crash, and I am joined by
Roxanne.
And what's your job here, Roxanne?
So I run a little business called Free to Be Bush Play and Learning, and we have teamed up with the awesome team here at KMR to offer a drop-off program with our bush play. So we run bush play villages in Hobart and around in Tassie. And so we're offering this program to parents who want to run and have their kids outside in nature still, and nearby, and getting to play and explore as well. So,
So what kind of things have the kids been doing here with you today?
So today we've actually got a huge tent, and we're open to the public as well as our drop-off program, which is pre-booked. So we had a special little section for our drop-off kiddos, and today we actually got to learn a bit about fire by friction. So they got to learn how to use a fire striker safely and how to build a little fire, and we made a little fire together in something called a Kelly kettle, and made a little hot chocolate. And
the dream.
yeah, that was pretty good because it's been a bit wet and windy here today. We've also been learning some tools. So the kids got to learn how to use a hand drill and a palm drill. We did some filing. Really, we're big advocates for risky play, adventure play, and letting children take some risks and learn how to, safely assess risk on their own.
And what would you say? Have the kids had a good time today?
Yes, I hope so. No, yeah, they definitely have. Yeah. We had one kid who was probably focused and patient and persevering for over an hour.
Oh, no way.
To get his own fire going using no cotton balls, so just natural materials. He was full survival mode and he'd never seen a ferro rod before in his life, didn't know what it was. And that is child-led learning at its finest for me, and he had an absolute blast doing it and was so proud to show his dad when he picked him up.
So he actually lit the fire?
He did it, yep, he got it done, and we were all rooting for him too, so everyone was so happy, yeah.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and then we had, lots of nature crafts, lots of painting and Play-Doh and a big ball run that was really popular, and just, lots of options. We're all about freedom here, so nothing is forced, everything is optional, and children really lead according to what they're interested in. So we went for a bit of a bushwalk and did a few tree swings and, just explored a bit too.
Oh, sounds so fun. Well, it's been fun chatting with you, and I can see some kids enjoying themselves right now. It's really cool. I hope that we see more of these kind of initiatives around the traps because it looks like it's pretty special.
Yeah, great to be able to get more parents out running too, and glad it's not me. I'll happily play with the kids in the bush.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Roxanne.
Thank you.
So the race has begun. We have climbed up almost to the top of Kunyanyi Mountain, Mount Wellington, to the Pinnacle aid station. You can probably hear the buzz around me. There are views all over Hobart. There's some really incredible kind of like rocky pillars and boulder fields, and the sun's filtering through the clouds, just like, oodles of rays shining down onto the water. It's absolutely magical. What a spot for a race. And we're in this nice warm building at the top of the mountain, which is pretty cool. What a great buzz it is. Lots of locals that obviously choose to do this thing, and some internationals as well. I saw Alina this morning. She had Lost Kiwi written on her bib. Hopefully she's not going to be lost today though. Yeah, it's great vibes. It is now Saturday night and we have made it back to our accommodation. I've got Jo with me.
Kia ora.
After her, can we call it a successful day out?
A challenging day out.
Challenging?
Started, finished.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say got the T-shirt. Yeah. So
been there, done that, got the T-shirt.
Win, win, win. Yeah, it was great. Really good.
Tell us about your day.
Wow, let me think. I would be lying if I said I loved it, and that it was more technical than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And technical and Jo don't really go together. But the views that we did get, even though there was nothing to see at the very top, there were spots where you could see the views, and that was beautiful and a good excuse to have a rest and take some photos. And really appreciated a really well marked course.
Yeah.
For our course at least. Didn't have a moment of feeling unsafe in that way, because I was actually quite surprised the amount of time I was on my own.
Yeah.
And often I'm running with Anne or somebody else, but usually Anne. And that gives you that sense of security being with someone.
Yeah.
But no, the markings were great. The volunteers were fabulous. One fella, he must have, I think, one of the organisers' wives was running in the same sort of pack that I was in for a bit.
Yeah.
And she got a hug from one of these guys who was volunteering at one of the aid stations, or not actually an aid station, they were just hovering. So I said to him, "Oi, you giving out hugs?" So I got one too. He thought that was a little bit, a little bit crazy Kiwis in Australia. No, it was a good day. Took me longer. I'd hoped to sort of pip around the 5-hour mark, but it was 5:30 something. So, but that's okay.
When you're going into the unknown.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was really good. Freezing at the top.
Freezing. It really was freezing.
Yeah, really cold.
Yeah, that kind of the southerly rolled in, and it was. Yeah, I had on a sweatshirt and a puffer jacket up there.
I bet.
And some of the runners were coming in little short shorts and crop tops and things, and I was like,
I don't wear those on a fine day.
no, this is true. I was feeling very cold and old.
Yeah, ditto. The snacks were great at the aid stations.
Yeah, they
really
looked
good food.
didn't they?
Almost up there with Tarawera.
Yeah.
You could,
Yeah.
give them a 9 3/4 out of 10 compared to Tarawera.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
And everyone was
Cool.
really helpful, really friendly.
Yeah.
It was great.
And then, so now, what's the plan for the next few days?
The next few days?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think I said last night it's Anne's birthday coming
Yeah.
up. So I think we're looking after some little fella
yeah, you
tomorrow
are,
to let
yeah.
his mother do some running. So that'll be fun. And then I think we might do a little bit of elbow bending tomorrow night
Yeah.
with a glass in hand. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah. Fancy 1 or 2 or 3
Yeah.
margaritas.
There's a,
And then we're going on a sailboat for Anne's birthday, so that'll be really cool.
that sounds great. What a recovery.
Oh, it's the best. The best. Yeah, and the next event is another Aussie one, so hubby
Yeah.
and I are going to do the half marathon at Ayers Rock.
Oh, that'll be
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Uluru half, so
Wow.
looking forward to that.
I'm sure that'll be quite a different landscape to what you've just been through.
Yeah, flat and sandy as opposed
Yeah.
to hilly and rocky. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your
It's a
Kunyanyi experiences, Jo.
Pleasure.
Now I'm joined by Anne.
Kia ora.
Anne, how was your Alpine Marathon
I
today?
think it's probably the hardest run I've ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I knew it was going to be challenging,
Yeah.
just because having read the description, and it's definitely the sort of race I like, or the event I like.
Yeah.
The terrain, just as we were climbing through over boulders and up through rocks and over rocks, and the exposed bit was quite exposed. We did quite a lot of exposed climbing on wet rock, but it was brilliant. Just loved that section of it. The climb up was hard. I didn't feel I had an awful lot in my legs to start off with. The first part, I was feeling that. I don't know if that's just the injuries I was carrying and lack of sleep or anything, but yeah, got up there. And then caught up with Sarah, and it was great to be able to just run together and share the space. And everything's really well marked, but felt very isolated.
Yeah.
Out on that middle section, that 16k section.
Yeah.
Felt very isolated. We were the only ones anyway you could see.
Yeah. Because it was a small entrant list, wasn't it? I think it was 100.
Yeah, I think there were only about 80 that actually entered.
Okay.
So I think, so it was a small field. So, and we started right at the back. We decided we weren't even going to try and get anywhere near the front. So we were at the end, which was good. It was good. We just kept on going. So yeah, it was cold though. As Jo said, that whole 16k section in the sort of really exposed area was very cold and quite wet. So And so we didn't get the sexy skyline ridge because I couldn't see it. No views
So it
from
was
the
the
sexy
sexless skyline. Why did it change the marketing?
Yeah, I know. Sexy skyline ridge when the sky is blue. But we did get a sort of essence of it because it was quite exposed.
Yeah. Do you think, like, when it comes to the terrain, is there anything that you can relate it to back home in New Zealand?
Yeah, we talked about that a lot as we were going. I think, so the pinnacles.
Yeah.
So that, the top part of the pinnacles and all of that terrain, real rocky terrain.
But like multiplied by how much?
Probably by 3 or 4. What else did we relate it to? Some of the sort of stuff around Ruapehu National Park, and then also some of the stuff down in South Island. Sort of the Richmonds, and some of the really steep muddy tracks up, a bit like the Richmonds that I trained on in the summer holidays. So I'm quite glad I went and did some of those things. But Te Aroha as well. So Te Aroha would be up the middle, not the road, but the middle would be a good training for Kunyanyi, I think, as well. Yeah. So lots of clambering and climbing, and then some of the steep downs were just unrelenting, actually.
Yeah.
The
the serious elevation. Like, how much vert did you get on your watch today?
Did we get 2,400, I think?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so lots of ups and downs.
It's pretty decent over 46K, isn't it?
Yeah. It was cool, though. I mean, it was a long day out.
Yeah.
It was around about the time I thought it was going to take me. So I did 10 hours 20, 10 hours 25.
Yeah.
So I thought, when I entered it and thought about it, I related it to Ring of Fire, actually, in terms of difficulty. And although Ring of Fire is 50, I thought that would be a similar sort of
comparable.
time. Yeah, comparable time. So, yeah.
And what about the bush? What was the bush like?
Very varied, actually. There was lots of... It changed all the time.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff again on the top, we likened it to a little bit like some of those, the goblin type forest when you get in.
I love them.
Not as thick as that, but that sort of, I don't know, a bit like the tea tree type stuff you get, and the stunted sort of trees.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then coming down through the tall eucalyptus trees and things like that. That was pretty neat as well. Lots of flowers, which I did take one picture of. Didn't stop too often, but lots of beautiful pink and white flowers. Yeah, so quite a lot of vegetation.
Very good. So birthday celebrations, is there going to be cake?
I hope so. We might have to go and find a nice place for a cake.
Seems like the perfect post-race, Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've earned your birthday celebration.
I think I have, yeah. Definitely earned the T-shirt.
Yeah, the T-shirt is beautiful too. I was just reading the blurb about the design. And
it's pretty cool, eh? Yeah. And we started again this morning with the smoking ceremony, which was beautiful as well.
Yeah. That was different to smoking ceremonies that I've been
was it?
experienced before. I thought it was really neat. He kind of welcomed everybody up to walk through the smoke. Yeah. But it was pretty special.
Very special. Yeah, it was good. So,
Very good. Oh, well, thank you for sharing your Kunyanyi experience and well done.
Thank you.
And enjoy those birthday celebrations.
Will do. Kia ora.
I am joined by...
I'm Kate Jackson.
And I'm Douglas Jackson.
And you two have had an interesting few days. What did you do this weekend?
I guess probably the best way to describe it is we fully immersed ourselves in the Tasmanian country of Kunyanyi and over 3 very incredible days.
And so you both did a form of the immersion. So Kate did is it called the ultra immersion? I don't even know what the official name is.
Yes, the ultra immersion.
Yeah. Yep. And Doug, you did the mountain
immersion. Yeah.
Yeah. immersion, and I want to say inversion, but maybe I'm just like still thinking about the weather. And so what did that involve for you both?
That involved us both doing a vertical kilometre on Friday, which was downhill. And then my run was 66 kilometres on Saturday. And then we both did the foothills today on Sunday, which was 9 kilometres. And on Saturday...
Yeah, Saturday my main run was 25 kilometres.
And how was it? Like, how was it doing 3 days in a row? And it's a proper, like, it's called Kunyanyi Mountain Run because you're going up and down the mountain. So how was it?
It was, I guess, as I was saying to you just before we turned the mics on, I think the only way I could describe it is overwhelming, but in the absolute best way possible. It was just, we had a bit of everything, and the way that the runs were structured really felt like it was just slowly chipping away. It was just chipping away at you, and the whole thing with Kunyanyi is running with the mountain, and it really felt like you had to embrace that because it was slowly chipping away at your fitness the whole time and your will to keep going the whole time, and you had to keep finding something else and just thinking about like traversing what was a seriously crazy terrain at times, and you really just had to embrace that and keep going and run with the mountain. You certainly couldn't fight it because if you fought it, you would lose.
Crazy terrain, what does that look like?
It basically, for many parts of the ultra course, there were parts where like the descent was just super slippery and wet, and I think the weather also played a part in that, but also parts that were, when you actually look at the profile, Lincoln had described it as rock scrambling, but it was really rock climbing.
Yeah.
You were putting your poles away and having to hoist yourself up and through rocks with sharp cutoffs. It really felt quite European type running. And then like, you know, just going into forests where there were like lots of roots and stuff, but then also large boulders and lots of stairs and stuff like that.
And
too.
you live in the Blue Mountains now. Is there anywhere that you think compares to that, or is it completely different?
I think there are a few parts. I mean, we haven't really explored heaps of parts of the Blue Mountains, but I think I actually think a lot of the Honslow Marathon course runs through parts that I think would be really good training for this, like sort of like Perry's Look Down and up to Lockley's Pylon, I think would be excellent training for this, which I have not done enough of yet. So yeah, it's I think that sort of stuff would be good, but there is so much of this that is just so unique. Yeah.
Does that mean that we might see you back next year then if you've got some Perry's and Lockleys to do?
Bit of training.
Yeah, I feel like I definitely I have unfinished, even though I finished the whole thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely unfinished business.
And you got a sneaky podium, didn't you?
Got a sneaky podium in the ultra immersion, which yes, there weren't many people doing it because it is an absolutely crazy thing
So
to
you're
do.
first in the crazies. Is that what you're
I'm
trying to say?
first in the crazies, yeah. Which I don't know. I didn't hear. Every time I told people I was doing the whole thing, they were like, "Is something wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I don't have an answer for that." So yeah, there's definitely unfinished business though, because a lot of things went wrong yesterday for me. And
Was it waking up with sore legs from the day before?
That was
like the start.
that was
Downhill before anything else was, it wasn't smart.
That was definitely part of it. But then just a lot of, because I think other runs that I'd done, the weather hadn't changed so rapidly. One big mistake I made was I did not put my warm weather gear on early enough.
Yeah.
I waited till I was basically frozen before I started to put it on.
Yeah.
because it would change so rapidly. I'm like, well, if I'm almost at the top, I'm going to be heading down soon and it'll be fine. But then the top was so much further than what I thought. And so I stopped for a long time. And then once you've stopped and you're that cold, it is so hard to get that rhythm back again.
Yeah.
So that's something that I learnt.
It's a good learning. A good learning when you survive the tail for it.
Yes, but it means that I'm prepared now and I have that in my brain of something like this where it does change so rapidly that I will know next time to be more like a Hobart local. They know when they should put all their warm weather gear on, and I think I can do more of that next time. Yes.
Oh, she's coming back.
I think so. Now that the pain's done, when I was doing it, I'm like, I actually don't ever want to come back. But now that it's all done, it's sort of like, and I think you said this to us earlier, it's like, oh, well, now that's all done. It's like, yeah, I think I will come back. The pain's gone.
And what do you reckon, Doug?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'd come back now, but on the mountain, I wasn't coming back. I thought first 12K and then I get to the top. That's all I got to do. It just went on forever.
Yeah.
But then again, like it was so beautiful because like the start, you're going through probably forested,
Yes.
and like it was just I was listening to like an audiobook as I was going, which is like medieval fantasy or something. So like ranges and archers and everything. And this is I was like, man, I'm like experiencing what they're experiencing. And then I was seeing wallabies and all this sort of stuff. I was like, this is so cool. But then once you got out of that onto the very, very exposed alpine area, then it became a bit of a trudge. And I'm used to being at the back of the pack anyway. Like I don't train enough to do any better. I can't bring myself to train enough to do any better. So I just sort of was trying to enjoy it. And I was probably the last one going up, zigzag, going up the top. And everyone's coming down from the wave that I started in, which was the last wave. And they're like, you've got this. And I'm like, yeah. And I was enjoying myself. And then I thought, oh, this isn't too bad. Like the weather's come in, it's inclement, but it's okay. And then I got to the top and it was just windy. I was freezing and I was running towards the aid station and my watch is saying you got 500 metres. I'm like, that can't be 500 metres, I can see it. So I'm not sure whether my GPS was working particularly well, but I got to the aid station, got nice and warm, and then I had to come back out. That was probably the hard part.
Oh, yeah. The coziness of that pinnacle aid station.
I'd gone in, I'd had some Coke, I filled up, and I was trying to just be really smooth about what I was doing, just like going through being quite methodical. And then I got to like the food. And then I got to the white bread and Vegemite. I was just like, oh, this is so good. And it was warm and I was like, oh, I'm staying here. But then I was like, no, I've got to finish because I've got the drop bag and I need to finish before Kate does. So I was like, oh, no. At that point I was worried that I was like, man, she'll be pretty quick. Like, I know she's doing more than twice the distance, but I am that slow. So I pushed on back out. And then my hands were like, because they'd said like you don't need the weather stuff,
gear,
and I was like, you know what? Yeah, cool, no worries. Bit of cloud because I could see the cloud on top of the mountain.
Yeah,
because Kate and all them had left at like 6:45. I'm hanging around until 10 o'clock. I'm sitting around in the run hub, chatting to people, meeting all these like wonderful people doing the 25, having a grand old time. The sun's out. Yeah, there's a bit of cloud up on the mountain. That'll be fine. You know, the MC saying, oh, it's 3 degrees up there. I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm not going to feel that. I'll have gone up the mountain for 12 kilometres. Like, and then I got up there and I was like, I wish I had my gloves. But then, and all that was happening in my mind was I was thinking, this is what Kate felt like at Kosciuszko.
Yeah.
Because like I was sending her out of the checkpoints at Kosciuszko, like, you got this, and she's like frozen, and she's like, I don't want to do it anymore. And I'm like, no, have some hot noodles, you'll be fine. So, and then I was just sitting up there, I was like, oh, this is really like, you know, it's one thing to cruise someone and like push them out because you know they really want to do it.
Yeah.
But you gotta help them get out there. But then I was like, oh, this is terrible. But then I started to descend, and then I saw the sweepers just coming up as I was leaving. I was like, I've got to really make this descent. Like, I don't want to get swept, or whatever the term might be. And then that's when I really felt it, like the vertical kilometre down from the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Was trying to descend quickly.
Yeah. On legs that had already descended.
Yeah, that had already
day
done
before.
that the day before.
Yeah.
But it was fun. Like, I mean, I can say that now. Like in the moment. And that was one of the things I kept saying to myself is like temporary. This is temporary because
Yeah.
I always, and Kate's always saying that to me as well. She's like, yeah, your muscles hurt, but like if you quit, within 30 seconds, you'll start feeling better. Within 5 minutes, you'll be like, why did I quit?
Yeah.
So I pushed on through, and then I got down. I got down to the next aid station, wherever that was, and it felt like I was done. But then there was like that climb up at the end. So I don't know. Like, and then it was a fun time, and I got into the run hub, finished off. Tried to run as fast as I could across the line, so people thought that I was
For the glory.
the glory of coming in like towards the end. But
Well, that's what you
that's
do.
the joy.
You always
Yeah.
sprint across the line because then it's like, oh yeah, I've been running this fast the whole time. It's
Like today in the 9K, I was like, oh, we can have one of those couple shots. Like we can run across the line holding hands.
Yeah.
I was like, we've got to do this, Kate. And she's like, okay, I got this. And then we were coming into the finish as the kids' race was coming in.
Oh, yes.
And they're like, oh, the kids' race is happening, so just stay to the left, like, because they're going to be really fast. And then we were rounding the corner, and there was a child running up, and they're 11 or 10.
Oh, yeah.
But my mind was like, you can't let them beat you. So I just sprinted across the line, like, forget this. And I realised that I was like, we completely missed that, like, that couple photo of, like, coming across holding hands, having done something.
no, beating that child was way more important. Yeah. So it's like every man for themselves. You
Beating
just
you,
sprint.
like, let's be honest, like, that was... No. Now that I say it, though, I feel really bad about it.
But you know what? Everyone can relate to that. They're all like,
Then
I've
after I
totally
finished-
done that before.
One of the volunteers was like, oh, how's it going? He's like, man, you really need to beat that child, don't you? I was like, yeah. He's like, they'd only done 400 metres.
Exactly.
Like, so they're still fresh. Makes me feel even better.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. What a crack up.
I feel so bad.
Nah, don't. That child needed a beat.
That'll be a lesson they'll learn. I'll come back next year. They'll be like, hang on, there's that bearded guy.
Oh, funny. Oh, I've got sore cheeks from laughing. So you two were telling me about the prize giving because Kate, obviously, with her podium, and so you guys got plaques, right, for doing the immersion. So talk me through prize giving because it sounded like it was quite a special prize giving.
Yeah, I felt like basically every part of the whole weekend was super special. Everything, because we were there at the opening ceremony and then everything through to the closing ceremony was just super special. Just from the opening ceremony had this really amazing smoking ceremony, and we were talking about it earlier, just the way that they like ask runners to pass through the smoke and it was just super special, and the way that they celebrate every runner and welcome you to the mountain, it was just super special from the opening ceremony right through to the closing ceremony. So they had they gave out all the prizes, and they obviously celebrated the people who had won the foothills today, but then they also celebrated everyone who had done the immersions and gave us these super lovely these wooden plaques with the engravings on them. It's just so beautiful. But yeah, the foothills people would just walk up around the back of the sand circle and get their prizes there, whereas they made all the immersion people stand up. All the people
Get on the stage.
Yeah,
Take
all the
like a step and a half onto the stage.
all the people.
quads.
Yeah, it's like that's just the last little bit of elevation you'll do. Just make you stand up onto the stage. But yeah, and that was so nice. And then they finished off with some Tasmanian Indigenous men playing the didgeridoo to say goodbye to the mountain. And it was just the whole thing, I don't know, was just so overwhelming and emotional. I don't know, just the whole way they just, and I mean, we were saying before like off air that how much the community was part of the whole thing right through from the beginning to the end. And so, yeah, there was just a lot of thank yous, a lot of people still there, all the volunteers and stuff. It was just, and actually the connection to the mountain, saying goodbye to the mountain, I just thought, wow, that is so unique. That is such a nice way to end what was just an incredible weekend.
I mean, I guess the mountain is why we're all here, right?
Yeah, that's right. I really liked, because I was saying to Kate, like I'm at the back of the pack, like I don't, but the idea that, so they had the first, second, third for the actual races, like everyone for the races, but then the immersion, it wasn't about like, there was no podiums for the immersion. It was just like recognizing the people that did all three, like that put that effort in. Because like, yeah, I mean, there was people there that had run every race and had done incredibly well in each race, but they weren't singled out as like the overall winners or anything. It was just like everyone that ended up getting through this as a personal challenge, I guess, or and I thought that was really nice, because it's kind of like, yeah, we're here to race, but also we're here to experience it. And it sort of seems to me, and I mean, I can't talk for what their thing is, but it seems to me the whole idea is every step of story is like we're recognizing these people who have tried to do the full immersion. And that, yeah, it was just, every morning was just tough for me. Like, and this morning was probably the worst morning to get out of bed. Like everything was just so sore. But then, yeah, once you get there and like the vibe and everything, and then the starting and the way they do it, it actually ended up becoming all right, like having a bit of fun. It was a nice way to finish it for us, because we don't get to run together that often. Like I was talking to Kate on the run, and it was like, well, when she goes out for a training run, she's training, so she's having to hit goals that I cannot hit. But after 2 days of her pushing herself and just completely like, she has to slow down. And so then I'm able to to join along. But it was just nice to do it. And yeah, so I thought it was just a really nice way to finish it as well. Like the whole thing was a lovely sort of vibe. And then coming in, there's all the excitement because the kids are running as well. So you didn't feel like you're sort of just the last ones. But then, I think the MC was just fantastic. The entire weekend, every single runner got like, as much as I recall when I was there, like every runner was, specifically named as they came across. And it was like,
yeah, they did a great job.
They do a really good job.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I was thinking about, that when you were talking about, waking up each morning, those multi-day events are a different challenge, because you wake up thinking, I don't think I can barely walk to the toilet and now I've got to go up a mountain. Like, how can I actually do this? And it's amazing when you get going how you can piece it together, even though you feel like it's impossible. And so I think there's a beauty in those challenges, and we don't see a lot of those in our region, which is really cool. It's one of those kind of other options that people have when they're going, oh, how else can I experience our sport? And one of the favourite sayings that I've had a friend had said to them when they were running UTA 100, I think it was her crew said to her, "You're hurting, you're not hurt." And I think that's a really good one to have in mind when you're doing something like what you two have just done this weekend. Like, you are hurting, you're not hurt. Like, you're running on some quite damaged muscles, but you're actually not hurt. You can keep going and you can prove it to yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, not super injured, maybe mentally hurt, maybe psychologically a bit hurt. All of that will, it will mend itself eventually. But like, you're so right though, because you may not think of it. I don't think I quite appreciated how much of a multi-day thing this would feel like. I was like, oh, the VK and the foothills, like that'll be kind of chill. Like, but it was just, it really did feel like a multi-day thing. And I was not quite prepared for that. And this was kind of my first true multi-day like event. And I think, oh man, we learned some lessons from that. So
I mean, I'm really curious to know because when you're in the middle of it, you can keep going. Like even if you're sore, you can just keep going because everything's running nicely. And so, not that I've ever done a long distance thing, but like I just wonder, like if you're doing 100 or 150 and you're just in it, you're constantly going. It's like, okay, I've hit this comfortable or this level of I just got to keep doing the same thing. But then if you're doing the same distance over multiple days, you're stopping, you're cooling down. All your muscles are starting to send the signals to say, like, we're done. And then you got to get up and do it again. Like, it must... I'd be curious to know from, like, someone who's done it, just whether or not it's a bigger mental hassle, you know?
I think they're different kinds of hurting. Like, they're both different mental challenges. They're both hard.
Yeah.
But I reckon doing what you've done, you've got some longer stuff in you.
We'll see. I was like, I'm aiming for the 50 at UTA. And like immediately after the 25, I was like, Kate, I've made a mistake. I can't do it. 2 months ago, I can't do this. I'm not going to do it.
You definitely can do it.
But yeah, she's just
But I love
pushing me
that
out, like at the checkpoint. She's just going to push me out and say, no, go do it.
But I love that though. You're hurting, you're not hurt. I think that is just, yeah. I'll tell you that when you're in the midst of the 50.
Well, I am getting completely wrestled by a toddler at the moment. So I think that might be our sign that it's time to wrap up.
Sounds good. We probably actually need to shower and wash our clothes too.
Yeah, you can probably do with a shower after your outing today. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you too.
Thanks so much, Ali. It's so nice to see you and chat to you.
You too. And well done on your full immersions at Kunyanyi this weekend.
Thank you.
And I'm hoping we're all back here this time next year.
Yeah, let's just make it a date. Let's just plan it now.
Deal. We're in. Anyone listening to?
Like in the immersion?
Well, hopefully we'll see how the knee goes. But anyone else that's listening that wants to join us, come along. It's been I don't know. I feel like it's been a really hearty weekend. Like there's been community, like genuine welcoming warmth and support from the Tasmanian runners and community. And I'm looking forward to being back here again.
Yeah, there's no event quite like this one. So I would definitely recommend anyone that is even considering it or wants to, anyone that wants to immerse themselves in a race that is about as European as you can get in Australia, I would just totally recommend it.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you at UTA for your first ultra.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, see you then.
See ya.
See ya.
Well, it all sounded really epic. How did you juggle MC duties and solo podcasting?
I didn't end up jumping on the mic. I got a sweet tour of all of the aid stations and then and just kind of podcasted around it. So it was pretty cruisy event for me, but really neat. Yeah.
Awesome. I was I remember first time coming over to do something by myself and just being so frightened I'd bugger it up with the Zoom recorder. But, you you live, you learn. But look, can't wait to see you in person in a couple of weeks. We're both going to be at Ultra Trail Australia on the mic. That's going to be super cool, and it's good to see you, and please travel home safe. But in the meantime, thank you very much for tuning in. Dirt Church Radio is presented by me, Matt Raymond,
Ali Pottinger,
and our old mate, Andrew McDowell. We're on all the podcast platforms, so follow, and give us a rating. It really helps.
We're on social media at Dirt Church Radio, email at dirtchurchradio@gmail.com. Now, don't forget to sign up to our Substack for our weekly newsletter and Aid Station podcast. And remember to write in with your greatest run ever. We'd love to hear from you, and you can read them on the website too. Thanks to our sponsors, Further Faster, That's It, Squad Run, and our Substack subscribers in the DCR Aid Station crew. Stay tuned for our show in 2 weeks when we have another great guest lined up.
Mā te wā.